Hello and welcome to another Purveyor of Lightroom quick tip. Today we're going to have the 10 most underutilized features of Lightroom. These are amazingly overlooked by a lot of users, and they are quite handy. So we got 10 of them to come through, so let's just go ahead and jump right through. All right, so first one is solo mode. This is underutilized and it's so useful. Here on the panel, it doesn't matter if you're in the library, develop module, you could turn on solo mode wherever you are. So example here, I have a catalog section, I have a folder section, and as I click, right, and open them up, I have to scroll, and then I can open up my publishing services, and then I can scroll, and then I have this big long scrolling section to go through to find what I want to do every time I'm working. Right? And so that's ridiculous. So all I do is on any section, okay, just right click. All right. And then you're going to be looking for to go to solo mode. All right. So example, collections, right click, and then hit solo mode right there. Okay. And now what that does is whatever section I hit, it's going to open that section and close all the other ones. So I go to catalog, it opens up catalog, but it closes the other ones. If I go to publisher, it does the same thing. And this works everywhere. And so it's a fantastic thing. So I'll go into the develop module, okay, and go back into the grid mode. And so we have our pictures and we have our sections, and now we have all on the right panel, we have all our settings, right? We go to develop. And now we're going to look at something and we go, oh, look, I got all these things to scroll, all these sections to scroll through to find out what I want to work with. All I need to do is come in and select a section, right click, solo mode. And then when I go into all the other panels close and the panel I want to work with opens. And I click on the other one and that panel opens and the old one closes. It's a very handy feature. So that's solo mode. Okay, next one. We are going to just handle a couple simple hotkeys. Okay, as you can tell, the Lightroom interface is very busy. We got the panels on the left, panels on the right, panels on the top, film strip on the bottom. Taking a lot of real estate, we can quickly turn these things on or off. Okay, just by hitting our tab key. So hit the tab key and it removes the side panels for you. Okay, so you give yourself a little more, less distraction, more place to work when you're working it. Hit tab key to simply return them. Okay, or you could turn around and go, if you want to get fancy, hold shift key and then hit the tab and it removes everything. Okay, so now I have maximum real estate. So that's shift tab. Hit it again to return back to the interface. Just a quick and easy hotkey to put into your workflow. All right, number 3. Okay, so we're going to do number 3 is a target collection. And this can come in handy when you're trying to organize your photos or place them into particular locations and cataloging or making different collections of different types of photos. Like we're all familiar with, selecting a photo and then saying, okay, here's that photo, and then I'm going to drag it over into it and drop it into a collection. That can get very cumbersome if you're doing several photos, trying to organize things. There's a quicker and easier way to do that, and that's with a target location. Okay, so how they work very easily. All right, I'm going to use the folder I'm on right now, the collection is, and I'm going to right click on that collection. And I'm going to simply say, set this as the target location. Okay, so I hit that, and now this folder, okay, this collection is now the target location. So anything that I want to put in here, I can just do this now with a real easy method called painting it. So I could take the spray can here, all right, and I want to hold that, and then I could turn around and pull down on the paint and I can select target location. Okay. And now with the spray can, I can just hover over each photo And as I click it with the spray can, it puts it into that collection for me automatically. So I can just go boom, 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 boom with the spray can, and I can move several photos into that collection. That easy. Okay, when you're done, just put the spray can away and you go back to work as normal. So it's a really good convenience factor. Okay, so number 4, okay, virtual copies. Very underutilized feature. It's a very powerful feature. Let's take a picture here at random. Okay, so I have this picture here, and I look at it and I'm going, okay, this is great, but I wonder if it would look good as a black and white, or maybe it would look good with a preset applied. I'm not certain. So I want to look at different variations of it, and before I make my decision how I want to work with this. So what I need to do is I need to make virtual copies. Now, this is what confuses a lot of people, is virtual copies is not making multiple copies of this picture. It's only keeping the one photo, and then it's storing the settings attached to it. So it gives different virtual copies, doesn't take any more space to your hard drive. So that's why they're called virtual. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a couple. So on this photo, I right click and I say create a virtual copy. And right next to it, there's one. And you'll notice now, the one next to it is the virtual. And you'll notice a little page curl on the lower left. That's signifying that this photo is the virtual copy. So let's make one more and create virtual copy. Okay, so now we have a total of 3 of these photos. All right. And you notice the 2 page curls tell you which one is the original and which one is the virtual. To keep things straight for everybody, I'm just going to put a color code on this, red, so that we know that, hey, this is the red one. All right. And maybe we'll put a star on it so we have it. So this is the original, and these 2 are virtuals. So now I can go to the virtual, and I can do anything I want and develop this. So for speed, I'm just going to go into develop, and I'm going to do a retro apply. All right. Good. So that's how I look at that one. And then I come back down to the film strip, and I select the next virtual, and I say, well, maybe I want to see what it looks like faded black and white. Okay. And now I have this. So now I have 3 virtual copies. Okay. And now I can look at these and decide, oh, do I like this one? Or do I like this virtual copy process this way? Or do I like this one in this way? Again, the power of virtual copies is there's only one photo. So it lets you look at the one photo in several different processing methods. All right. So next, we are going to go to what's next on the list. Virtual code number 5, tone curve. All right. So tone curve, I'm going to take a little portrait here. Let's see. We'll use this one here. And we will go into the develop module. And so a lot of people, they know the tone curve, so they just turn around and they start working with the tone curve. And the tone curve can be, look at that, I just moved the line by accident. And now it's a mess. So I have to try to inch it back in. And it's really touchy. I mean, I moved stuff all over the place. It's really touchy. All right. And it's real hard to get it to what you need to do. So here's the trick. You can control this so it slows it down, so it moves in slower increments, and it's easier to adjust. How do you do that? Simple. Just pick your control point and then hold the Alt or Option key down as you drag. So hold the Alt or Option, and now things are very slow, and you can make fine adjustments exactly how you want in your photo. So there you go. A simple hotkey when you're adjusting with the curve, and you can make fine adjustments with your tone curve much more accurately. All right, what do we got here? Number 6. Okay, the presets. All right, so let's reset this photo, And now I'm going to come over to my presets and I'm going to say, okay, I want this faded too. All right, so I click that preset and there it is applied. But darn it, it's too much. It's the effect is not what I want. It's a good effect, but it's too much. Most people don't even realize this is here, but once you apply a preset, up top is an amount slider. Okay, so just simply slide the amount and you can adjust how strong or how weak that preset is applied. You'd be surprised how many people have totally overlooked this amount slider. It's one of the greatest things that Adobe has entered into the Lightroom family. So make sure when you want to adjust it, just come in and do your adjustment, and there you go. All right, so that's your number 6 amount slider. All right, reset here. Let's go on our next. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of masking things, quick things like, let's say you want to make the eyes pop here. Utilize the power of Lightroom's masking. Okay, and that's the number 7 tip here is utilize the masking. Okay, so we're going to do a masking here and help you work with the subjects. Let's say you wanted to make her eyes pop, okay, for example, on this portrait. So utilizing Lightroom's new masking tools makes things very easy to mask and adjust things. So just come to the masking tool, and then when you come into the thing, there it goes. It's automatically identified a person. So I click on that person, and now I can just isolate any part of it. Their skin, their eyebrows, their eyes, lips, so forth, automatically into the thing. So I could turn around and select the iris and the pupil. You can see it shows you the mask. So I'm going to select that and create the mask. So I'm going to make an mask on her pupil, and then I can come in and do any adjustments I want. Okay, if I want to brighten things, if I want to bring in the highlights, see, I can put that catch light in her eye. Show you here. Let me zoom in. Here we go. So you can come in and zoom in, and I can see I touch the highlights in the eye. I can turn around and adjust the brightness in the eye. I can really target in on how I want things to do. If I want color change of her eyes, I can change that to how I want to color the eye. All with no effort at all, thanks to Lightroom's advanced masking filter. So that's tip number 7, the masking tool. All right. Number 8. All right, so I'll reset this photo here. All right, so we're going to go in and let's see, what is number 8? Number 8 is brighten your photos. This is just a actual development process that people make the mistakes on. Okay, so I'm going to open up a photo here in the develop module and jump right in, and I'll just put it back to fit. All right, here. So we have this undeveloped photo, and you can see it's a little dark. We're losing detail in the eye, so we have some development work to do. So what most people do is they jump in and they try to just do everything with, just the exposure slider. All right. And they come in and they go, all right, there we are. We're done. Okay, got it. We've adjusted it up, and now we can see the detail that we weren't seeing. That's the wrong way to do editing. Okay. That's the wrong way to apply this, especially with all the advanced things. So let's reset. What we should do, okay, is we need to look and use the fine details that we're losing. We're losing detail in the hair. We're losing the shadows, so forth, and maybe a little bit of an adjustment boost. So instead of just throwing over the slider, okay, let's just turn around and start in with the highlights. All right. So the highlights we can bring down so that we don't lose any detail, and we're watching the histogram. Okay. So we can bring down the highlights or raise up the highlights how we want the photo to be. Then we can turn around and bring up the shadows All right, by increasing that, and that brings into the shadows. And you notice these are targeted adjustments. Okay, so I'm targeting just the shadows. Then I can take the black slider and bring in contrast, okay, into the photo and adjust. Okay, and then the last thing we do is the exposure slider. And now, just with a little bit of tweak, we now have a properly exposed image. Okay, so that's just a little quick tip on how to process things. All right, so next, we have to turn around and bring in, okay, good. Look at this, color pops. What another process error. So I'm going to reset. And the most of it's so overlooked. I can't believe that people do it because it is so powerful. Now I've reset this photo to absolutely no edits at all, as we can see. Okay, we can see that we've darkened, we've lost the hair into the darkness, we've lost the detail of the feathers, so we got a lot of work to do. Well, wouldn't it be nice if we got a head start and let our camera, which are wonderful, wonderful tools today, do a lot of the work for us before we even have to do anything? And most people go, what's that? And I go, the power of profiles. Okay, now they're different than presets. Okay, you come up here on the top of the basic panel, you'll see a profile, and it says Adobe Color. And you can pull down and you can say, here's Adobe Portraits, and here's that. And you can adjust the photo using Adobe's methods. All right. What I'm telling you to do is your first step of editing any photo. I don't care if it's a landscape or a portrait. Okay. You should be turning around and utilizing your camera's profile. So how do we do that? Well, just come over here to these 4 little rectangles and let's open it up and look at this camera matching. Lightroom will automatically match our camera's instructions, and here they are. So it gives us, for this particular camera, it's saying I have a landscape profile, I have a neutral profile, I have a portrait profile, I have a standard profile, and I have a vivid profile. Now, and each one is going to work very good. If this was a landscape, I would naturally want to go to the landscape mode. But look at the photo as I hover over this. Okay? As I look how much it changes. So if I turn around and say portrait, there we go. Look what all that's been done. All right? If I go to the before and after, look, there's what we started with, an unprocessed image. And by just simply telling Lightroom, hey, turn on my camera profile to match this picture, what camera it was taken with. Look, it puts us and adjusts us that much for, and how much the hair came back, and it gives us a better starting point for doing edits. So you have to do a lot less work, and things are a lot easier to edit. So that's tip number 9. Profiles. Start using them. All right, last but not least is editing your photo. Tip number 10. Use your histogram. This thing sits up here lonely in its right-hand corner, and you notice if we hover over it, it tells us little shaded areas, shadows, blacks, exposure, highlights, and stuff like this. It's a more natural way of editing your photo. So let's say you hover right over and you go, do I want the blacks increased? I could come down to blacks, and then just click, and I can drag left or right, and look, I'm moving the black slider, but I'm doing it from the histogram. Okay, so I can adjust it. I can come to the exposure right in the middle, and I can do that. Now I'm doing this as extreme so you can see it on the thing, but I'm moving the exposure slider, but I'm doing it via the histogram itself. I'm dragging in the histogram in these different areas to turn around and do my exposure. And so there you go. Edit your photo via the histogram. So that's tip number 10. Okay, guys. So that does it for me this week. I hope you found some of these tips useful. And until next week, you guys take care.